Good morning and welcome back to the build site here. It's 2 days now since the excavator left. Yesterday it was raining, so we didn't try to do anything up here yesterday, but today the weather is good. Things will have dried out a bit overnight last night. So now it's time to do some cleanup. As you can see, a load of great progress is made up there, but we've got some cleanup to do here. We do still have some stumps that we need to take back into the forest, but my first task of the day is getting all of these treetops that we felled from just over here, get all of those through the chipper. There's about a dozen trees there, I think it was, that came out, so there's quite a lot of work to be done here. It's probably 2 or 3 bags through the chipper. Diana is back down at the RV today. She is working on the video, and so it's just me up here. That kind of works okay because honestly, with branches like this, the chipper really can only keep up with one person. So I've got the chipper back on our Kubota tractor, dropped the ballast box off that we were using to tow the trailer with. Chipper's back on there. So I'm going to get that positioned and start chipping through this, see how that goes. If I do manage to get all of that done today, and there's a lot there to chip for one person with this chipper, if I do manage to get all that done, I'm going to move on and start taking more stumps back into the forest. Today is cleanup day. Okay, so we've got the first bag done. That took about half an hour to get that done. Wasn't too bad actually. That was mainly spruce. I got the tops off most of the spruce in there now. Still a lot more spruce to go low down on the branches. As you can see, our bulk bag support that we made is working really well. We did have to make a few little repairs to it a little while ago where it had snapped or some of the joints had come loose. But overall it works really well. It really helps us get the most out of these 1 yard bags. Chipper's done great. If you're wondering why I'm breaking everything down so small on the chipper, it is a 6-inch chipper, so in theory it can take something up to 6 inches in diameter in there. In reality, getting something that big to go under the hydraulic roller is really hard on your own, if not impossible, to be honest. I don't think I could push it in hard enough to actually get it under the roller. Then it works the engine really, really hard. Like the whole thing shakes. So it'd probably do it, but it really works it hard. But what really kills the chipper is this foliage. It's all the spruce needles. They're wet, they're green, they're stringy, they don't like to chip cleanly like a piece of wood does, and they will block the chipper. If the chipper gets blocked, it's not too hard to undo it. One bolt opens the case up, I can get inside and remove the blockage, but it probably takes 3 or 4 minutes extra to do that. And what we found is it's just quicker to break things down a little bit smaller, feed it in a little bit slower, let it handle a few smaller branches at a time, not a giant treetop, and that way the hydraulic roller has enough power to pull it in. The knives aren't so clogged up with stuff coming in that they can cut it pretty cleanly. And yeah, we just found that is the quickest way to use this chipper. I do think my initial estimate of 2 or 3 bags is going to be way off. Fortunately, we have about a half dozen bags, so I'm not going to empty these right now because, well, mainly because our wood chip pile that we're adding to is blocked by all of this. So for now, I'm just going to back the tractor up a few feet, pull the bulk support out of this bag so it just lifts out, and I'll put another bag just here, just next to it. Move the tractor back a few feet and we will be good to go again. A few more hours of this, I think. So we're through the second bag. That went pretty quick actually. It was about another half hour or so for that bag. It's hard work. I was honestly hoping for some more cloud cover today, because with the chainsaw straps on, 2 pairs of pants basically, it's pretty toasty. And this is pretty hard work. Climbing in there, pulling them out, feed them in, not to mention running a nice hot chainsaw as well. Got my hat on, got my Bluetooth earphones, which are also noise cancelling. It's the ISO tunes, they're noise cancelling. I also, when I'm on my own, I put these other ear protectors on as well. Helps me hear the music or whatever, the podcast a bit better, and keeps the outside noise down. But yeah, so we've now got 2 bags full. As you can see, still got quite a long way to go, but we've made some good progress there. I think it's probably at least another bag or 2 though to get through all of that. I only brought 2 bags up with me, so I'm going to head down to the shipping container, get a couple more, and again, just leave these where they are and put the tractor in a new position with a 3rd bag. First, I'm going to take a break for a few minutes, get a drink, because I'm a little bit warm and a little bit sweaty. Just had my first chipper blockage of the day, so all things considered, I've done 2.5 bags. That's not too bad going. We do get a blockage from time to time, so if I can set this up so you can see what I've got to do. So on here, I need to take off this nut, or this bolt, sorry, and then that will open up and I can clean out what's inside. I don't think I spotted this one very quickly, so this might be a bit of a mess inside. We'll just have to see. The quicker you can spot it, the easier it is to free. So let's set you up there. Let's see what we can find. We recently got this impact wrench, this DeWalt impact wrench, because it makes it so much quicker and easier. We were doing that by hand before, and it's just really slow going. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that is full. So we basically need to clean all of this out. See if I can show you what's in here. You can see this is just absolutely full, and the chute up at the top there will be full as well. So there's different ways of doing this. The way that we found best is honestly just to idle the engine, making sure we're well clear of it with the case open, and idle it. It's probably not the safest, but it is the quickest. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to spin this up and it will spray out all the stuff in there. I'll kill the engine again, and then I can start to clean out what's in there. So let's see if this works. You can see how much is in there. That was really blocked. We found the best way to clean this out is to reach up in here and just loosen it to the end of a wrench. When there's two of us here, one of us can reach down the other side. Yeah, it's either really small stuff or really big stuff that tends to block it. And we've noticed it tends to block more as the knives are getting dull, but it's only blocked once today in 3 bags, which isn't bad going. We normally get a blockage or 2 per bag, usually because we try and feed it probably a little bit faster than we should. This is the nice thing about the smaller chipper compared to the larger ones we've rented. On those, this chute, you just can't really reach down. Then you've got like to poke sticks down or poke sticks off on the other side. It takes a lot longer to open this case because this is that much bigger, there's more bolts and things to undo. So as much of a pain as this is, actually it goes fairly quickly. So that chute feels pretty free now. I can spin this by hand. Okay, bag number 3 completed. The pile is going down. It is. I'm definitely making progress there. I hope it's only 1 more bag. This last bit is kind of tougher. I started at the top so I could really pull out the bulk, but now I'm getting towards the base of the big logs, and although we bucked off about 17 feet, at least 1 or 2 17-foot logs off the bottom of each tree before we piled them up, as you can see, the bottoms here are still pretty big. They've got some good sized branches on them, so I'm just cutting them down into pieces that I can move on my own, just lift them easily, and I will use them for firewood or something else later. But they're all kind of more matted together, so it's just a little bit harder work getting in there. I did want to just take a second though to share something that we're trying today new. So on our chainsaw, a gas chainsaw uses 2 different types of oil. There is the engine oil that you mix with the gasoline, ratio 1:40, 1:50, depends on your saw, on your engine. It's a specific engine oil designed for engines like they have on a chainsaw, and it really just lubricates the engine. The second oil is what's called bar and chain oil, and this you put in a separate reservoir, so when you fill up the gas, I also always make sure that the bar and chain oil reservoir is topped up, and this lubricates the chain as it spins around the bar. So there's a little drip feed or a pump, depends on, again, your chainsaw, and our electric chainsaw uses this oil as well. So this is to help the chain and bar run smoothly. Now that oil doesn't burn. Unlike the engine oil that burns with the gasoline, this engine doesn't burn. It's just a lubricant, and it's always dripping out onto the bar and chain. And what that means is that all of the oil that you put in that reservoir is dispersed into the environment. So it's either drips out, it sticks to the thing you're cutting, or it is kind of dispersed as almost like an aerosol because of the speed at which the chain is running. Meaning that if I put, over the course of a session chainsaw logging or a few days of logging or whatever, let's say I put a pint or a quart or a gallon of bar and chain oil into the chainsaw, that is a pint or a quarter of a gallon that I've basically just dispersed onto our land. Either I'm breathing it in, it's in the air, and maybe it'll blow away, maybe it'll settle, or it's on all the things that we're cutting. Particularly if you're pruning a tree, you don't want the end that you're cutting that's still on the live tree to have oil on it, if that oil is going to be damaging to the tree. So most bar and chain oil sold in the US and used in the US is petroleum based, meaning it's just a regular kind of oil. And that means you're putting all of this oil onto your land. So since the very start, we've been using a different type of oil. We've been using one called BioPlus, made by Steel, and you'll see us maybe load up using the green bottle. And it is a biodegradable oil. It's a more natural oil. It's great if you're trying to keep a tree alive. You're just pruning it. It won't leave like a petroleum-based oil on that cut edge on the live tree. We like it because we just don't want to be pouring a load of like petroleum-based oil on our land. That's just not good for the environment. And we don't want to be breathing it in. It does get aerosolized as it comes off the chain. It's bad enough breathing in any oil, let alone petroleum-based oil. There is one problem with Steel BioPlus though, and that is it's expensive. So the green bottles, I think they're about a gallon. They are about $30 each, which is about twice the price, if not more, than just the regular bar and chain oil that you would buy. So recently I've been doing some research, seeing if I can find an alternative. And what I found is that a lot of people have had a lot of success using this. This is canola oil. And it's just like regular cooking oil. We bought this at the grocery store. This was just the cheapest container we could find when we went out yesterday. I think next time we go to Costco, we'll be getting a bigger container of this. It's about half the price of the biodegradable oil, the Steel BioPlus that we've been using. It's really commonly used apparently in Europe. This is a big thing that people do. And I found plenty of forum posts online from professional loggers in different parts of the US who've been using this very successfully as well. One of the drawbacks to canola oil is temperature. It doesn't perform particularly well in very low temperatures, such as we'd get in Vermont. I read mixed reports, but basically below about 15 degrees Fahrenheit, which is well below freezing, the canola oil can start to gel up, and it doesn't provide enough lubrication. So right now, that's not an issue. As you can see, I'm dripping with sweat. It is about 70 degrees today, so no issues with this being too cold weather to use the canola oil. So that's what I put in the saw this morning. I topped it up with canola oil. So far, it seems to be working really well. So we're going to give that a try. We're going to put a few bottles of this through. It'll save us some money. It is a natural oil, obviously. And yeah, we'll let you know if we run into problems. But based on what I've read, I'm not expecting any problems. It should just save us some money. Right, that's enough of a break. Time for bag number 4, which I'm hoping is going to be the final bag. Fingers crossed. We're all done. That took about 3.5 hours. It is just coming up to 1 o'clock here. I am exhausted, I am dirty, I am sweaty, and I am so glad that's over. It's a lot of hard work that, feeding the chipper. We did four yard bags, completely full. I cleaned up as much as I could on the ground here, but honestly I can't get any more through the chipper anyway because it is totally full. The stuff that is here is all small. This whole area is going to get turned over by excavators and all sorts the next few weeks, so I'm not too worried about that. Got some logs here that were too big for the chipper. They're going to get used probably for firewood. We'll just buck those down, although they're spruce for what we use firewood for, which is just campfires and outdoor fires. That's not a problem. And then we've still got the logs over here, which is what came off the bottom of each of those trees. So yeah, that worked out pretty well. What did block the chipper today was actually some of the bigger branches and logs and things going through. Tends to be things around about 4 inches or so in diameter. And I think what happens is if I've cut the end square, so this isn't the top of a tree, it's just a cut log, if you like, say 6 feet long. As the end finally goes through, it's like the hydraulic roller doesn't quite push it all the way into the blade, or into the knives, and so it kind of like slices almost along the grain. It's like it rotates around and slices along the grain. So you get these kind of slivers of wood that come in. I don't know if any fell out, but it slices it into these big pieces of wood. Here we go, got one here. So like this is what you get. And so you can see the grain on there is going with the piece of wood. So this was not cut across the grain, this was cut with the grain, making me think that log went in like this and then turned at the end to get sliced in that way. And what seems to happen is this is obviously massive compared to the chute. So that lodges in there and blocks the chipper. And that's what happened a few times, particularly on that last bag, where I was getting towards the actual sort of the bigger branches and the logs and things, and I was maybe pushing my luck getting some of them into the chipper. So that blocked, I think, maybe 4 times on that last bag versus didn't block at all on the first 2 bags. Fortunately, it's not too hard to unblock. It does take some time. It is annoying when it happens, but we've learned to deal with it now. The impact wrench makes quick work of that nut and lets us really get going pretty quickly again. We have noticed as well, this seems to happen a lot more when the knives aren't sharp. I can tell from kind of what's coming out at the end here that the chipper's really struggling. I mean, some of this stuff has barely been cut at all. It's just been sort of passed straight through. So I suspect these knives are getting a little bit dull. We're putting a lot of hours on the chipper. We have been through a couple of sets of knives in terms of had them. I think we've got 2 sets of knives. They're double-sided, so that gives us 4 brand new sides, and I think we are now on our 5th side, which is the first set we had resharpened and are back in there. We may need to switch these again soon. I'm keen not to do that too soon, because when we're chipping this stuff, it's on the ground, especially if there's roots and dirt and stuff in here, that dulls these chipper knives really, really fast. And so I don't really want to put a nice clean new sharp edge in there just to have it dulled straight away by some of this dirty stuff that we're putting through. But overall, that worked out really well. The chainsaw with the canola oil seems to be working fine. I couldn't really tell any difference, to be totally honest. But it is now 1 o'clock. It is time for me to head back down to the RV, get cleaned up and have some lunch. Really hope you enjoyed this video of how we're clearing up some of the debris here, getting ready for the site crew to be back in to help us get this place graded so that we can start building our dream house here in Vermont. If you did enjoy this video and you want to follow us along on that journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.